The meeting room was cold, not just from the metal walls or recycled air, but from the silence between the two sitting across the table. Captain Ilis Gray sat with calm eyes. His hands were flat on the surface, relaxed. Across from him sat Vera, a Thari taller, broader, and stronger than any human he had seen. Her skin was deep bronze, thick like armor. Her eyes glowed faintly gold. Her large hands were clenched on her lap. She hadn't spoken in 10 minutes. Elias finally broke the silence. "You don't have to be nervous." "I'm not," she said. Quickly, but her voice cracked. He smiled gently. "You've crushed the arms of training bots. You once flipped a tank in the Tridian War. I don't think you scare easily." Vyra looked away. "That's the problem." He tilted his head. "What do you mean?" She slowly turned back to him, her jaw clenched. "I'm not made for peace. I'm made for killing. My size. My strength. It's not for gentleness." Elias nodded slowly. "But you're here, at a peace table, with me." She stared at him. "Don't pretend you don't feel it. You're nervous. You think if I move too fast, I'll hurt you." He didn't deny it. Instead, he said, "Yes, you could, but I also know you haven't." Vera frowned. "You could have broken this table in half," Elias said softly. "You could have snapped my neck with one hand. But you didn't. You chose not to." She looked down. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Do you know how many of my kind told me I'd never be touched, that I'd break anyone who tried?" He was silent. "I was told my body was a weapon," she continued. "Too big, too heavy, too sharp. No softness. No chance for closeness." Elias gently pushed a cup of tea toward her. It was warm, simple. Steam curled between them. "I'm not afraid of the tea," he said with a small smile. Vera stared at the cup. "If I pick that up and squeeze too hard, it'll shatter." "Then pick it up gently," he said. She hesitated, then slowly reached out. Her thick fingers wrapped around the cup. It didn't break. He smiled again. "See?" Vera didn't smile, but she didn't frown either. She took a deep breath and brought the cup to her lips. Her hand trembled slightly, but she sipped, carefully. "It's sweet," she said quietly. "Just like peace," Elias said. "Takes patience, trust, and a little bit of warmth." She lowered the cup. "Why are you here, Captain?" "I asked to be," he said. Vi raised an eyebrow. "You asked to meet me?" "Yes," he nodded. "Your record says you ended 3 wars with 1 strike each, but you never started them." She looked away again. "That doesn't make me less dangerous." "No," Elias agreed, "but it makes you more than what they say you are." She went silent again. But this time, the silence wasn't cold. It was heavy with something else, something almost like sadness. "You're not the only one who's been told they're not enough," Elias said. "Or too much, or wrong." Vera looked at him. Her eyes glowed softly in the dim light. "Been told I'm too soft for command," Elias said. "Too kind, too trusting. And yet here you are," she said. "And here you are," he echoed. They sat in silence for another moment. This time, it felt peaceful. Vera leaned back in her chair. "You know, if I ever tried to be close to someone, I'd probably crush them." Elias looked at her without fear. "Then don't try all at once," she blinked. "What?" "Start small," he said. "Like holding a cup, like talking without shouting, like sharing tea." Her gaze softened. "You really think I could be something other than a weapon?" He leaned forward, hands folded. "I think you already are." For the first time in years, Vera didn't feel like a monster. She felt seen. And she wasn't sure what scared her more, his words, or how much she wanted to believe them. The Metal table cracked with a loud snap. Vera's hand had slammed down too hard. The steel surface bent inward beneath her palm. Sparks danced on the edges. Everyone in the room froze except Captain Elias. He didn't flinch, didn't jump, didn't even move back in his chair. Vera's golden eyes widened. "Why aren't you scared?" "I saw worse from my mother when I tracked mud through her kitchen," Elias said calmly. A stunned silence followed. Then, slowly, Vera pulled her hand back, ashamed. "I didn't mean to ... I was trying to make a point." "You did," Elias said, "but you also proved another one." She narrowed her eyes. "Which one?" "That you held back." Her brow furrowed. "I cracked the table." "And if you hadn't held back," he said, "you would have cracked the floor too." The room was still, but something inside her shifted. She looked at him, trying to read his face. But he wasn't mocking her. He wasn't afraid. He was telling the truth. Later, outside the council chamber, Vera stood alone near a tall glass wall. The stars beyond shimmered cold and distant. She could still feel the weight of everyone's eyes on her back. She was used to it, used to fear, used to being treated like a bomb that could go off at any second, but not with him. Elias joined her a few minutes later, holding 2 steaming cups. One was for her again. She glanced at it, then at him. "Still offering tea after I almost broke the table?" "I don't give up that easily," he said. She took it, more careful this time. "You held back," he said again, softer now. "I want you to know that mattered." Vera sipped slowly. "I wasn't always like this. I believe you. I used to be smaller, quieter. I was one of the last in my birth group to mature. I was weak ... wasn't. The changes came fast. Too fast." "What changed?" Elias asked gently. She hesitated. "The war. They added chemicals to our food. Training got harsher. They wanted bigger soldiers. I became what they needed." "But not what you wanted?" he asked. She shook her head. "They called it a blessing, but all I became was a tool. The more I won, the more alone I felt." Elias didn't say anything for a moment. Then he nodded. "You know, I was called a tool once too. A peace tool. Said I was only good for talking, not fighting." Vera raised a brow. "You're not what I expected from a human captain," he smiled. "That's funny, because you're exactly what I expected from a Thari until I spoke to you." She laughed, just once. It was deep, rumbling, and short. A real laugh. She looked surprised. "I haven't done that in years. Feels good, doesn't it?" "Yes," she said quietly. Then her face turned serious again. "But you're still not afraid of me?" Elias took a step closer, close enough that she could have crushed him with one hand. Still, he stood tall. "No," he said. "Why not?" "Because I don't believe you're just a body built for war," he said. "I think there's more to you than strength." She stared at him. "I've hurt people by mistake. I've broken bones without meaning to. And yet you've shared tea with me twice and nothing broke. Yet," she added, "I trust you," he said. "Why?" "Because when someone powerful is afraid of hurting others, it means they already care." Vera didn't answer right away. Her heart was pounding harder than it ever had in battle. And not from fear, but something close to hope. A small, flickering hope she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. "Careful, Captain," she whispered. "If I stay around you too long, I might believe I'm more than what I was made to be." Elias looked at her without blinking. "Then stay." Vera flinched the moment her claw grazed his skin. She had only been reaching for a fallen datapad. Elias had reached at the same time. Their hands brushed for just a second. His skin was soft, warm, human, and hers was not. She pulled away fast. "I didn't mean to. Did I cut you?" Elias looked down. A thin red line marked his hand. "Barely a scratch. I've had worse from a kitchen knife," he said, smiling gently. Vera's face twisted with shame. "This is why I don't get close." "It's okay." "No, it's not," she snapped, turning away. Her fists clenched. "I wasn't built for this. For softness. For people." Elias stepped closer. "But you want it, don't you?" She didn't answer. He didn't push. They were in a small storage room now, fixing communications gear together. It was part of their joint mission, one of many tiny tasks meant to build trust between their species. A war had nearly broken out 5 years ago. These missions were part of the slow healing. Vera was the strongest Thari officer ever selected for the program, but she often kept herself separate, always distant, always guarded Dot until Elias Dot, he sat beside her, connecting wires. "My fingers cramp doing this," he said with a chuckle. She watched him. "Mine would snap those connectors. If I don't go slow." "That's the thing, though," he said. "You do go slow." She looked away. "You don't know what it's like. Always being told you're dangerous. That your body is a warning sign." He was quiet for a moment. "I don't know what that feels like. But I know what it's like to be told you're weak, useless, too gentle to lead." Vera glanced at him. "But you lead now. Because someone once believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." She looked at her thick fingers. "No one ever believed in me like that." "I do," he said. The room went quiet again. But this time, the silence wasn't cold. It felt ... close. Asterisk. Later that evening, they walked together along the outer ring of the station. The stars outside looked endless. Vera kept her steps slow, always careful, not to shake the walkway or brush against him. Elias noticed. "You always walk like you're afraid of your own feet," he said softly. "Because I am," she replied. "My weight has broken floors before. I cracked a bed once by sitting on it. Imagine if someone had been under me." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Are you talking about combat?" She gave a rare smirk. "Not exactly." He chuckled, then went quiet. A few steps later he asked, "Have you ever wanted to be touched without fear?" She stopped walking. Her eyes turned to him slowly. "Yes," she said quietly. "But every time I tried, someone got hurt or ran away." Elias stepped close, very close. "And what if someone didn't run?" Vera looked down at him. He was so much smaller, so fragile, so brave. "You'd be the first," she whispered. He slowly reached out. This time, she didn't flinch. His fingers brushed hers, warm, gentle, trusting. Her hand trembled. "You don't have to do anything," Elias said. "Just let it happen. Just feel it." She closed her fingers around his hand. Not tight, not strong, just present. Was the first time she held someone without fear, and it didn't break him. Asterisk. The station lights flickered as the storm outside raged. Ion winds slammed into the shielding dome, shaking the structure. Most crews stayed in their quarters, waiting it out. But Vera was not in her room. She stood outside Captain Elias's door, drenched in rain and half limping, her breath uneven. Her armor was cracked. Her right arm bled dark alien blood. Her eyes, those golden eyes, were not glowing tonight. They were full of fear. She pressed the door buzzer once, then hesitated. A second later, the door slid open. Elias stood there, in casual clothes, surprised, then concerned. "Vera?" "I didn't know where else to go," she whispered. Her voice was shaky. Tired. Elias didn't hesitate. "Come in." She stepped inside, water pooling behind her. He helped her sit down on the edge of the bed, careful not to touch any wounds. Her armor hissed as she unlocked the shoulder clasps. "What happened?" he asked, grabbing a medkit. "Not a battle," she said. "An ambush, my own kind." Elias froze. "They attacked you?" She nodded, barely meeting his eyes. "Some. Thari believe I've gone soft. That, speaking to a human like you, makes me a traitor." He clenched his jaw. "They tried to silence you." "They tried to kill me," she corrected. He kneeled in front of her, carefully inspecting her arm. The wound wasn't too deep, but it had to be cleaned. "Take a breath," he said. She watched him as he worked, his fingers soft, his touch careful. She could feel her body tense under his hands. Not from pain, but from how gentle he was. "Are you being kind to me?" she asked. Elias looked up. "Because you came to me, not to anyone else. That means something." "I'm a monster in my people's eyes," she said. "I'm too strong to control, too big to love." He cleaned the wound slowly, gently. "Then their eyes are broken," he said. She stared at him. "No words. Vera, when I look at you, I don't see something dangerous. I see someone who's been trying to be gentle in a world that never let her." Something in her chest cracked, not physically, but deeply. "I scare myself sometimes," she whispered. "Even now, sitting here. I'm afraid I'll break your floor, or your bed, or you." "Then don't sit alone in fear," Elias said. "Sit with me." She looked at him long and hard. Then she asked softly, "Can I stay here tonight?" Elias nodded. "Yes." They didn't sleep in the same bed. Not yet. He gave her the bed and took the floor, offering extra blankets. She resisted at first, but he insisted. They lay in silence, in the dark. Only the sound of rain tapping the outer walls. Vera turned slowly to look at him. "Elias?" "Yes?" "Why do you keep seeing something good in me, when I've never seen it myself?" He didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "Because someone needs to. And maybe, just maybe, I want to be that someone." She closed her eyes. For the first time in her life, she fell asleep next to someone, and didn't feel like a danger. She felt safe. She woke up before him. Vera sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the sleeping human on the floor. Elias was curled up in a blanket, breathing softly. One arm had slipped out, resting on the cold metal floor. She could have crushed that arm in her sleep, but she didn't. She hadn't moved all night. She'd kept her body still, too scared to roll or shift, afraid her weight would hurt him even from across the room. But now, as morning light crept through the window, a strange peace filled her chest. He trusted her, and she hadn't broken. Anything, not the bed, not him, not herself. Later, they stood in the training bay together. Elias had asked her to teach him hand-to-hand defense, saying it would help with diplomacy if things went wrong. She'd laughed at first, thinking it was a joke, but he was serious. Now, standing in front of him, she hesitated. "If I hit you by mistake, I trust you," he said, smiling, "and I heal fast." She shook her head, but couldn't hide. The small smile forming, she moved slowly, guiding his arm, correcting his footwork. Every time her fingers touched his skin, she expected him to wince. But he never did. Instead, he leaned in closer, asking questions, watching her hands with focused eyes. At one point, his foot slipped. He stumbled forward, bumping into her. She caught him before he fell, her arms strong around his waist, her body steady like stone. His hands rested on her arms. She froze. So did he. They stood there, close, too close. Her heart pounded like a battle drum. "I didn't mean to fall," he whispered. "I didn't mean to like catching you." She whispered back. He smiled slowly. "You didn't break me." "You say that every time I touch you," she said, voice low. "Because it's true every time," he replied. And this time, she didn't pull away. That evening, Elias cooked something small, simple earth food he shared from his pack. She sniffed it with curiosity. "What is this again?" "Mashed potatoes," he said. "Soft food for someone who thinks she's too hard." She gave him a look. "You're calling me hard now?" He chuckled. "Not like that." She tried the food. It was warm, comforting, and she liked it more than she expected. "I never eat like this with others," she admitted. "Our kind eats fast, alone. Eating together is rare." Elias nodded. "Sharing food is a kind of trust where I'm from." Vera looked down at her plate. "Then maybe I trust you more than I thought." The word surprised even her. Elias didn't respond right away. He just smiled and took another bite. Later that night, as they sat in silence, he placed a hand on hers. Her first instinct was to tense. But she did in single quotes not this time. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. "I'm still afraid of me?" she replied. "Then let me carry that fear with you," he whispered. "Even strong people shouldn't carry it alone." She stared at their joined hands. No pain, no pressure, no breaking. Just warmth. Just cared out. And for the first time, she believed. Maybe this was real. Maybe someone could love what she was. Not despite her strength, but because she could learn to use it gently. Asterisk. "I'll break you if I try," she whispered again this time. Her voice was shaking, but it wasn't a threat. It was a plea. Vera stood at the center of Elias's quarters, her hands trembling as if holding back a storm inside. Her golden eyes were soft, unsure. The strongest soldier in the Thari Empire looked afraid. Elias stepped closer. No armor, no weapons. Just calm, steady breath. "You've said that before," he replied gently. "And I meant it," she said. "But now, I mean it differently." Her hand brushed his cheek, carefully, slowly, as if the smallest mistake would shatter the moment. Elias placed his hand over hers. His skin was warm, hers cold. Yet somehow they fit. "I'm not asking you to try," he whispered. "I'm asking you to trust." "I do," she said, "and that's what scares me." That night, the stars outside the window blinked like silent witnesses. Vera sat beside Elias on the edge of his bed. Not in armor, not with shields up. Just her raw, real, vulnerable. "I wasn't made for closeness," she said softly. "Our bodies were designed to fight, not love." Elias turned to her. "You're not just your body," she smiled sadly. "But my body's part of me. It's the part I've always feared most." He reached for her hand again. "Then let me show you that it can be safe, that it can be wanted." Slowly, carefully, she leaned into him. Her head rested on his chest. She could hear his heartbeat. Soft, steady, not afraid. He wrapped his arms around her, not tightly, just enough to hold. She tensed for a moment, and then relaxed. No cracking, no pain, not only warmth, not only care. Later, when the room was dim and quiet, she whispered, "Do you feel like this is real?" Elias nodded. "Yes, and if it isn't, I'll still choose it." Again and again. "I'm not used to being chosen," she admitted. "And get used to it," he said gently. She laughed, but tears lined her eyes. "I want to believe this won't end in pain," she whispered. He brushed a tear from her cheek. "Then don't carry the fear alone. Let me carry it with you." She kissed him then, softly, carefully. Her lips, once used only to give orders, now trembled with emotion. And Elias kissed her back. No fear, no hesitation. Only love. Sometime later, as they lay under a shared blanket, Vera spoke again. "What if I hurt you without meaning to?" "Then we'll stop," Elias said, "and try again another day. And if I never get it right, you already have," he said, "by choosing not to run, by staying." She stared up at the ceiling, then at him. I've never felt this before. What? Safe. While being myself. Elias brushed his thumb along her arm. That's all I ever wanted to give you. She leaned into him again, her giant frame curled around his smaller one like a shield made of steel, learning to be soft. And as the station lights dimmed for the night cycle, Vera whispered once more, this time with a promise, not a warning. I'll never break you. Not if I can help it. Not ever. Asterisk. The scanner beeped twice. Then again, Vera stared at the screen in silence. Her hand clutched Elias's tightly, but she didn't speak. Not yet. A soft light blinked across the display, slow, steady. Then another, smaller light blinked just beneath it. 2 pulses. 2 heartbeats. Elias leaned in. Is that? Vera nodded. Slowly, her voice barely above a breath. Yes, it's real. The medic stepped back, unsure of what to say. This had never happened before. Not between a Thari and a human. Not biologically. Not medically. And definitely not naturally. But it had. She was pregnant. With his child, they sat alone afterward in her quarters. The walls were quiet, but their hearts weren't. Vera sat with her head resting on Elias's shoulder, her large frame curled gently beside him carefully. Protectively. I thought I couldn't, she said, staring at her own hands. I was told my body wasn't made for this. That no one would ever want to try. Elias smiled. They were wrong. I'm still scared, she whispered. Not just of hurting you. Now. I'm scared of being a mother, of hurting the child. You won't, Elias said gently, because you already care. And that's what matters most. She stayed quiet a moment, then added, I never imagined something growing inside me. Something soft, something gentle. Elias chuckled. Like mashed potatoes. She rolled her eyes but smiled. You held me like I was fragile, she said softly. And somehow I didn't break you. You didn't, he said. You built something instead. Weeks passed. The station whispered with rumors. Some called it unnatural. Others called it a miracle. The council requested tests, scans, proof. Vera and Elias didn't care about the opinions. They cared about the heartbeat. The second, tiny heartbeat. One evening, Vera stood in the mirror, looking at herself. Her reflection had always scared her. Too big, too rough, too sharp. She had never seen beauty in her own form. But now, something was different. Her hands still looked like weapons. Her shoulders still towered above others. But her eyes no longer glowed with anger or fear. They glowed with life. Elias entered quietly behind her. You're beautiful, he said. She didn't look away. I never believed that before you. He came closer and wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his head against her back. I never believed love could look like this. But it does. That night, as they lay under soft sheets, Elias whispered, What will we call them? Vera blinked. Them? He smirked. Hey, we don't know if it's a boy or girl. She smiled too. Maybe both. Then we'll pick names from both our cultures, he said. Something strong, Vera whispered, but also kind. Elias added. They stayed quiet, holding each other, dreaming of the child they never thought possible. And in that quiet, Vera finally let go of every voice that ever told her, You're too much. You'll break anything you love. You weren't made for this. Because now, she knew the truth. She could be strong and soft, powerful and gentle, feared by the galaxy, but loved by one human who never stopped believing in her. Not once. And now. She carried proof of that love inside her. No longer afraid, no longer alone. She was loved fully. And she had never broken anything, only healed. Asterisk.